What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to the main stand. It is one of your hosts, Patrick. I'm here today, joined by just Josh.
Yep.
Mitch is getting his wisdom teeth out, so it's just us two today. You just have to deal with me and Josh. How's it going, buddy? How you doing over there?
Not too bad. It's been a busy week, just like with the whole vlog thing, everything, getting social posts up and whatnot. I have a couple quick shout outs at the beginning of the ep. Thanks to everyone who listened to the vlog, watched the vlog. Most popular video on the page right now. So appreciate everyone going and listening to that. 50 views might not be a lot to some other podcasts, but that's a pretty big number for us. So we appreciate all that support.
Hell yeah, huge milestone. Halfway to 100, baby. Thank you, guys.
And then next thing, this came in the mail. I just got back to Minnesota today. We mentioned this a few months ago. The women's soccer club in Minnesota that was like crowdfunded.
Yep.
Just got my scarf in the mail. Minnesota Aurora.
Ooh, that's a good scarf.
Yes, very nice scarf. They're going to be playing in a town called Viking Lakes, which is actually the Minnesota Vikings practice facility.
That's
and
fucking badass.
The venue allows tailgating, which is fucking awesome.
That shit is so sick.
So I had to give them a quick shout out just to show that we rep women's soccer. It's a vibe, and it's a fucking awesome. They were crowdfunded so well. They've been announcing players and stuff this week. I just think that's so cool. But yeah, and also today, Minnesota United tickets went on sale to stay in line with the Minnesota theme. Cop 2 tickets. I'm going to the opening night against Nashville on the 5th of next month, so just a couple weeks away.
Oh, fuck yeah.
And April 23rd, I'm going to see them play Chicago Fire, which we'll talk in a little bit about why that's interesting.
We'll see you in June, motherfucker.
And then my last shout-out, just piece of housekeeping here, to a good listener, good friend of the program, Cam, Manchester United fan. I have to whip out the pin I just got. You're not going to be able to see it very good. Maybe I'll post a story of it later. We got a nice little Manchester United Liverpool pin of the famous 5-0 defeat with all the scorers on it. So I had to flash that one for the camera real quick. Bunch of treats on the pod. We really love it.
We can tuck into the meat of the episode here. So just a couple of housekeeping things. We'll touch on the first one, the single transfer, I think, that we really wanted to talk about here. Today, Shaqiri was announced as a Chicago Fire player.
What do you think of it?
It reminds me a lot of the Schweinsteiger transfer, and I'm going to forget that Shaqiri played there in 3 years, much like I forgot that Schweinsteiger played there.
They really had the Schweinsteiger stock up on the social pages today. They had him like announcing or talking to Shaqiri about the move and everything on social. I just thought it was funny because like he had no impact on that club whatsoever.
Yeah. Played like 80. I think he played 80 games. He was there for like 2.5 years.
He played that many games for them?
Yeah, or 80, he made 80 appearances. Probably.
Still,
I know
that I would have expected.
Like was barely playing, but I probably a lot of stuff coming off the bench.
Yeah, that's fair.
I mean, he was there from 17 to 19. Like you think about it, the MLS is they play 38 games plus like intercontinental or not intercontinental. The CONCACAF Champions League, the whatever the equivalent of the FA Cup is in America. Name is escaping me, but that one, you can make 80 appearances in 2 years.
That's quite a bit, though, for a European guy. I wonder how many appearances Blaise Matuidi has made for Inter Miami, because I feel like it's a lot less.
Someone out there, tell us how many Blaise Matuidi. And if you're an Inter Miami fan, why?
That's a very good question, honestly. I love that. I mean, I love Shaqiri. I thought he was a real good playmaker at Liverpool. I enjoyed the time he was there. He kind of got put in the Jurgen dungeon, I think, in the last couple year and a half. Interesting fact, though, it seems like Shaqiri had like this world of output because I think his goals were really memorable. He obviously had the 2 that kind of led to Jose's sacking at Man United, and he had a couple against Everton that were memorable.
Yup.
Taki Minamino has more Liverpool goals than Xherdan Shaqiri.
No shit. That's crazy.
Isn't that insane? I heard that the other day, and I was like, no fucking way. Because, like, you just think Shaqiri has this, like, worldly impact. And he did. but he just didn't have much goals.
I think if you look at Shaqiri's career backwards, it's hilarious.
Yeah.
Like especially now, it's like he like started his career in America and went on to like break into Europe and play for all of these clubs and win the Champions League, and then like career dwindles down and he goes and plays for Stoke City and then wherever he started. But like when you look at it in actuality, it's like it's just insane to me, man.
It's crazy.
He's got like 2 or 3 Champions Leagues.
I could be wrong about this. I believe him and Salah actually played together at Basel as well as Liverpool before he was at Stoke.
You're probably right. That's insane.
He's had a crazy career. I mean, 2 Champions League titles. He has a rocket of a left foot.
Cool pedigree coming to the MLS. I'll be excited to try and see him.
Yeah, that's the whole reason I picked that Chicago Fire game. I mean, I know that game specifically against Minnesota United. It's on ESPN. It's like an afternoon Saturday game. It's going to be a big one, but I don't think it's quite like Lorenzo Insigne. I think that one is just like a new level signing, but where he's an attacker, how many goals do you think he'll get his first year?
I don't know.
I think like 14.
Yeah, that sounds right. Yeah, I'll say 14. There is actually another MLS transfer that I neglected to put on the thing, but I think is cool to talk about. Apparently DC United are trying to sign Carlos Tevez.
Dude, there was rumors Minnesota was going after him, and they like squashed those. They're going after some other guy, but supposedly he wants to move to the MLS.
I love Carlos Tevez, so I hope he comes to the MLS.
It would be very cool. The MLS is like, they're not necessarily gaining the best players. They're gaining a very like eclectic group of players that are turning like the fans that are really big European fans into like supporting MLS teams because like a past player played.
I don't think it helps the league's reputation of being a retirement league, but I think it is cool that these guys are choosing to like finish their careers here. But yeah, that's about it there. The only other thing is a bit of a funny news story, and then we'll tuck into some legitimate football, some games that were played. So Jack Grealish, Riyad Mahrez, and Kyle Walker have come under a bit of the microscope of the media because they went out, they had dinner, and Greasy was fucking hammered.
Yeah.
And all over social media.
Jack just seems like a good time, man.
Awesome. I bet he would be so much fucking fun to hang around. He seems like a really genuinely nice guy, too. I don't think there's a thought in his head, but that's a totally different story.
I don't know why Mahrez got brought in, because Mahrez doesn't drink, does he?
He might. He was there at least.
Okay.
I think it's because they were out on the town. Him, Walker, and Mahrez were out.
I mean, the other two, it's one thing. Grealish was absolutely shit-faced.
He was hammered, dude.
Lollipop in mouth, fully just getting bounced from entrance of the club. Holy, it was a good video.
I guess apparently the reason they were asked to leave was because of just some like a misconception with the owners of the place, like something about either like a reservation or like where they were sitting, and then you add in a shit-faced Jack Grealish and 3 fucking very famous footballers, and it's just kind of a recipe for a lot. Do you have any real opinions on that before I just like give my quick 2 cents on any footballer in the world going out and having a good time?
It's a tough one. I think if you would have asked me a couple years ago, I probably would have said, smarten up. I think it seems like a new movement to like just let athletes like live their own life, and that as fans sometimes we can be a little bit obsessive about like what they do in their spare time. When it's like Diogo Jota can fucking play weekend league for 10 hours on the weekend, and it doesn't take away from the time he's practicing or like getting better as a player. And the same goes for partying, having a good time, like especially after a win, pretty solid win. But
that's like my whole thing with it is let these guys live their lives. Like I get it. Maybe it's one thing if like everyone is doing fucking terrible and the team is in abysmal form. Like, yeah, Grealish probably hasn't lived up to his $100 million price tag this year. Absolutely. I'm a City fan. I get it. But, let the guy live his life. I'm not overly concerned about him doing it. It's not like he is getting, an obsessive amount of fines from the club for his partying, or he's like causing a problem in public. He's fucking a little older than me and he's drunk in public. I'm drunk in public every weekend. I don't care personally. He's out having fun. He's not breaking the law.
I've never really had to deal with it because, like, I think a lot of Liverpool, like, leaders in the dressing room. I mean, I guess Firmino got a DUI a couple years ago. But some of, like, Liverpool's best players are, like, teetotal, where they don't, like, they drink, but they don't really drink. You know what I mean? Like, Henderson and Millie both, like, don't really drink alcohol. Salah, Mane obviously don't. Naby. So you have, like, a big portion of Liverpool's dressing room that's not even, like, that vibe. So I've never really had to, like, deal with it or think about it that way, like, how I would react in that situation. I think if it's a loss, that's different. The one that I was more intrigued of that I think ties into this argument even more is Leicester City. After getting pumped by Nottingham, and we don't know, we need a fact check on this, because I read some things that this video was from New Year's Eve. I saw a lot of other stuff saying it wasn't. Hamza Chowdhury and Danny Ward just also, like, shit-faced partying. Danny Ward with a bill in his nose in this video. So you can only presume what's going on. And in that situation, if that was after they lost, I get both of them didn't play, or Danny Ward didn't play. I think Chowdhury did, maybe came off the bench. Situations where that happens, I think after a loss, you have to be a little bit quiet. And, that video, I think, got out from Ward's girlfriend, but it's just not a very good look. And that one was the other one that was kind of trending this past weekend.
I think that one is definitely like a figure it out situation. But at the same time, I'm not going to be the one to, like, really criticize them, because at the end of the day, I'm still pretty firmly in the camp of, like, let the guys live their lives. If that's how they want to blow off steam after a tough loss, that's how they're going to blow off steam after a tough loss.
Yeah.
It looks bad, obviously, and maybe it's not, like, the most professional or the most, like, ambitious. It looks bad as a footballer and as a professional, but at the same time, like, that's ultimately what they wanted to do. And if that's where their ambitions line up with being okay with getting fucked up after getting piped by Nottingham Forest, then they're going to get fucked up after they get piped by Nottingham Forest. Most of those guys in that video are not, like, 19 or 20. Like,
yeah,
we're not going to change their ways. So
I think most of the people mad about it are probably, like, younger kids on Twitter who don't really understand. No ex-players mad because people forget in the 90s and early 2000s, drinking culture was English football. Like, that's how teams were. Like, after games, they all went out as teams. Like, that was the whole thing of, like, playing in the Premier League. So you don't see any ex-players condemning it. I think you see fans who, like, live normal lives condemning it because they expect more people who are paid, millions and millions of dollars.
Yeah, it's probably a fair thing to expect from these professional athletes. But
exactly. Speaking of blowing off steam, I think Dakar and the whole country of Senegal got to blow off quite a bit of steam this weekend, winning their first ever AFCON. Obviously, their manager, I'm not the biggest fan of him because he's had words with Klopp, but he was the one that missed the penalty, I believe, in 2002, and then gets to win it as manager of Senegal. Good story. Mane sinks the winning pen over Egypt. You have any takeaways from that one?
I'm just, like, happy for Senegal, man. Just to see the images and the videos that are coming out of that country, just, like, so happy to have won that trophy. Like, man, that's, like, honestly what the sport's all about. And I think that certain fans and certain people should look at themselves in the mirror and, like, really see how happy winning this trophy made the entire country of Senegal, and, like, start to take all international competition seriously. It's like a select group of people out there that for whatever reason decide to undermine this tournament specifically, and I think that's insane because like look what that meant to the country. And it's just as big as winning the Euros for them. And I think it should be thought of that way for the most part. It's pretty tough to watch it over here. You get it in bits and pieces, so you watch it where you can. Mitch just happened to watch the final by clicking in the right.
I watched the final as well.
Yeah, on beIN Sports. So it's tough for us to be able to watch it, but I think it's important to recognize how important of an achievement that is.
Yeah.
So
and on top of people who disrespect it, beIN Sports has to be called out too. They played commercials during the game.
Yeah.
Insanity. I mean, if Salah would have scored a goal during one of those commercials, I would have had it on Twitter. Yeah, where does this Senegal team rank? And if you don't want to answer this because you can't think of examples off the top of your head, I can think of a couple. Where do they rank on paper in terms of like best African teams of all time? Because they have some absolute stars on that team.
The only team that I can really think of that I followed pretty heavily in AFCON was, I want to say 2013, the Ivory Coast team that won it when Yaya Toure was captain. It was 2013 to 2014 maybe. That team was insane. That Ivory Coast winning AFCON team with the Bonnie, Yaya Toure, I think Gervinho played there still.
Was Drogba still there?
I don't think it was Drogba.
Okay.
It was when Toure was captain of the Ivory Coast. In his the peak of his years at Man City.
Yep.
In that 2013 to 2016 3-year stretch. That team was incredible.
Yeah, there must be a Ghana team too that was. I can't think of names off the top of my head, but there must be a Ghana team in the past 20 years that was pretty loaded as well. When you look at the Senegal team though, Sadio Mane, I mean from front to back they're just Rolls Royces. You have Mendy in goal, Koulibaly in defense, Koyate in the midfield. You obviously have Mane. I know I'm missing names as well because their whole lineup was stacked.
Yeah, it's really, really, really good footballers, top to bottom. So,
what do you think about Salah not getting a pen? What do you think about that whole situation of having do you put your best pen taker last, or do you have him go first?
Me personally, if I'm the manager, I want them third.
Yeah.
I like 2 or 3 for your best taker. First is your most confident taker. 2 and 3 are your best. The guys that are you're going to fucking score a penalty. Because if number 1 misses, number 2 can still miss, but 3 has to hit his penalty. And I feel that's where you need your guy. I don't know. The way I feel about Salah not taking a penalty, if it was his choice, which I have no idea, is kind of how I felt about that when Ronaldo didn't take a penalty in the Euros. And ended up because he wanted to take the last penalty. If you're the best penalty taker on the team, you should take one of the first 3 penalties.
Yeah, I hope that's not what went through his head. I hope it was a coaching decision. I could see Mo doing that, though.
No.
I'm looking at Senegal's roster right now because I knew I was leaving off a few names. Amad Diallo.
Yep.
Another one. I'm going to butcher the name, but Gouai, the one that used to play for Everton, I believe he's at PSG.
Oh, yeah.
And then Ismail Assar as well.
Oh, shit. Yeah, they are loaded.
So they are stacked with talent. And usually in international confederation tournaments, I'm not talking ignore England, teams like that. You're going to see a lot of names that you don't necessarily recognize. For a team in West Africa to look at that team at a relatively medium-sized country and over half the names.
Yeah, half the starting 11.
Yeah, that's pretty good.
That's insane.
And they're all playing for top clubs as well. So, cheers to Senegal. That's a very, very impressive accomplishment. I think AFCON, besides some of the refereeing stuff, which easily could have been resolved. I think it was very good.
Good that those early in the tournament. Controversies that popped up didn't overshadow anything that happened in the tournament, which is good. You love to see that.
Yeah.
So that's housekeeping. That's the 3 big world stories you wanted to touch on. Let's tuck into the review. So we have, if I can count, 6 games here that we are gonna just kind of chat about quickly. First one, Premier League result. Newcastle 3, Everton won. I wish Mitch was here because he would be,
Yeah.
excuse me, so happy.
That was a bet. That take's not looking too hot anymore. Saint Maximin in that game was unreal. I watched the highlights after, didn't watch it live. He controlled that game from start to finish.
He was unplayable.
Yeah, and I think he was one of those guys, almost like Vinicius a little bit, and it's different because like Real Madrid, Newcastle.
Right.
But he's a little bit like, I think people are starting to get like, okay, this guy's a little overrated. He just dribbles. Where this year, I feel like people are like rating him as an overall player.
Yeah, I've always thought he was a good player. I think he's better than Newcastle, so I like really want someone to buy him. But he had a phenomenal game. Do they have enough to stay up, do you think, though? Newcastle,
I do.
I think they're.
Trippier scored a good goal from a free kick, so he kind of showed like why Newcastle bought him.
Mm-hmm.
I think Chris Wood helps. We didn't even really get to see much of Bruno. I don't think he came on at all. So I do think Newcastle have a lot. Again, that's an inspired Everton team coming off that manager bounce. You have Delhi. I don't think Van de Beek came in, but Delhi played the majority of the game because he came on for an injured player. I forget who it was. Newcastle just played really, really well, and it seems like the atmosphere at St. James Park is kind of growing. You see something building under Eddie Howe, which is a little bit scary. I think with the games that they have left, I think there's more than enough points for them to stay up. We were texting in the group chat. I think the 3 teams in the bottom now are easily the 3 worst teams with Burnley, Watford, Norwich.
Yeah, I think those are definitely the 3 that are going down. I'd like to see Norwich maybe do what they could to try to stay up, but they're so fucking bad, man. They're abysmal.
Yeah, they don't have hope. I think Newcastle has at least hope that, hey, we have some good players. St. James Park is always a tough place to go play.
Mm-hmm.
It's hard to see them going into the back half of the season and being worse than what they were in the first half, you know?
Yeah, no, spot on.
And speaking of bottom of the table, we have Burnley taking points off Man U.
Yeah, I was about to say, and speaking of dog shit, this game fucking sucked.
Yeah, it wasn't good, was it?
Burnley are fucking terrible. United can't score, just awful. I mean, it's just funny, personally. I'm a City fan. I am going to really enjoy just soaking in the misery that Man United are going through right now. But Burnley are getting relegated. So, like, I would love to say, like, you know, good point earned for Burnley. But I think at the end of the day, this game doesn't fucking matter. Because Burnley aren't going to stay up. And Man United they're going to wallow in nothing this season. So it's just felt like a pretty meh game, a pretty meh result. It's just like meh overall.
Maguire's defending on that goal was shocking, per usual.
Ever since he put his fingers in his ears against fucking what
was it? It started with an M, didn't it? Small country.
No, it was whatever.
Doesn't matter.
That's the point. Put his fingers in his ears and he scored that goal. Man United have gone through like 2 managers. United have won like no games and they're in like 9th place. They've been knocked out of the FA. They're bad. They're stinky.
Yeah, it's one to stay away from if you're betting.
Yeah, just never bet on Man United until they win like at least 2 games in a row.
Next game, this one actually took place just a couple hours ago. Villa Leeds.
So
crazy game.
So sick. This game had fucking everything. It had 6 goals, fucking 5 yellow cards, and a red card.
Yeah, red at the end. I just want to say, a couple months ago, I said this Jacob Ramsey kid's pretty good. He has been on fire the past few months.
So is Coutinho, on a side note, a goal and 2 assists.
Yeah, I mean, he didn't even start either, which is crazy.
It's impact. Yeah, he's loving life back in the Premier League, man. It's good to see him enjoying his football again.
Yeah, I don't know what it's hard to like pinpoint why he didn't work at Barcelona. If you want to pin that on, you know, the way they played around Messi or what have you, but you can tell he is just loving life, you know, at Aston Villa right now, and the way they're letting him play, the way the other players look at him.
Yeah.
He just has that confidence. He hit a curler today that didn't go in. But it was like, holy shit, that like reminds me of like Coutinho at Liverpool.
It's really good to see him like finding his feet and his form and playing inspired lately, honestly. So
the one player that stood out in a bad way for me, and I think for everyone, Tyrone Mings for Aston Villa. I don't know how that guy's England quality. He just makes individual errors that lead to goals.
He reminds me of like Joe fucking Hart, dude. Always has an error in him.
Yeah.
He
had a couple today.
He's not particularly good. He's really rash when he's defending. I feel like he like defends on instincts, but his instincts like aren't very good.
Yeah. I'm surprised they stuck with him. I can understand a little bit now why they wanted Joe Gomez so bad in the winter.
Yeah, they just need a solid center back there. I think that's probably going to be, in my opinion, their biggest try to buy this summer. It's because they're going to stay up. They're going to reinforce for Gerrard to like really make a team out of them. And
I wonder how much more money they'll give Stevie though, because they definitely had one of the best winters in terms of transfer activity.
Right.
So how much? They signed who? What's his name from Arsenal? Callum Chambers. They signed Lucas Digne, Coutinho.
Yeah. I don't think any of those guys fetched big fees though. When you think about it, like that club probably isn't in like an obscene amount of debt. They're like a relatively big club still, but despite not being like the best on the pitch, and they sold Grealish for $100 million. So
that's fair. Yeah.
I think they still have some money. And then, you think about they hit the summer and they stay up, they finish mid-table, they get that extra money from just like being in the Premier League, the deals, the money you get from just existing in the Prem. I don't think it's crazy to say that they can go in for like one decent, like solid, like 29-year-old center back to just shore up a back line.
I'll be interested to see like who they can keep.
Yeah.
I think they have a few people, John McGinn being one. I think John McGinn could flash some radars in terms of like the Liverpools and maybe the Man Uniteds of like him going to a big team. He is a quality midfielder.
Yeah, there's probably a couple teams that could use a guy like him too. So yeah, I would be interested just to see how their summer, shapes up. Another game that I didn't actually see this result coming, moving out of England, was Barcelona beating Atletico Madrid 4-2 over the weekend.
We had the Madrid draw no bet, so we were thinking
none of us saw that coming. And Barca played really well, man. A player I've been a fan of my entire life, Dani Alves, kind of showing that class is permanent, but form is temporary kind of thing. Despite his red card, okay, he had a good game. He had a really good game, and then he got sent off. But I'd always been a big Dani Alves guy. Really, really big win for Xavi and all of Barcelona. And the last thing I'm going to say, and it pisses me the fuck off to say it, but Traore had a good game. Fucking hate it.
I don't want him to do well.
I mean, whatever. Fuck you. I hate him because of what he did to City, but...
What's the news on this Gavi kid? Do you know much about him?
The midfielder?
He scored one of the goals, and people were talking about him.
He's just like one of the high-rated like La Masia youth kids. And they're up there with like Pedri and those guys.
Interesting.
They rate him really, really highly.
Pedri's probably going to retire in 2 years based on his usage. He's a 19-year-old in a 33-year-old's body. He's going to have Gerrard knees in 3 years.
Yeah, Gavi's he's one of the really high-rated just Spanish kids coming up through the Barcelona youth team right now. I think when they tried to sign Ferran Torres from City, we initially tried to give us Gavi.
Interesting. I didn't know that.
Yeah, he's rated really highly. So
Dortmund Leverkusen's the next one. They got smacked 5-2.
Shit out of them.
Jude had a pretty bad game actually. A rare bad game. I don't think he's had too many in that yellow and black shirt. Just overall pretty shitty performance from Dortmund, and
they were pretty shambolic at the back. They had like maybe one guy had a good game. It's about
Nothing has really changed about Dortmund since Klopp left. We've had times where we've thought it's been different, but it's been the same. It's just inconsistency.
I just get Haaland the fuck out of there. Get him to a good team, please. That's all I'll say on the matter. Get him the fuck out of there. They got absolutely murdered at home, killed. Leverkusen looked like the best team from fucking start to finish. It was tough.
I need to watch more Bundesliga here. We have it on. It's on ESPN Plus.
Yeah, so. Baby. ESPN Plus. I'll wake up in the morning. I'll be like, all right, City's not playing today. What the fuck am I watching?
I have every single streaming service known to man to watch soccer. And on Saturday morning, I will still put it on Norwich City Crystal Palace.
Oh, God, dude. I am not a Premier League slave, man. If there's, like, not any good Premier League on, I'm like, all right, we're going to fucking Spain. When I was living down in Portland, too, I had a roommate named Sam. If you're listening to this, shout out you, Sam. He and I had, like, a 4 or 5 week stretch where we watched the Indian Premier League on ESPN, like, 5.
This is funny.
Like really early in the morning, and if there was just like no good games on, we would just like toss the Indian Premier League on, and the quality of man.
A couple stories about Indian Premier League. One, I don't know if he still does. I know last year he did. Robbie Fowler was the manager of one of those teams. I believe like Bengal FC, something like that. Which is just a funny visual of Robbie Fowler coaching one of those teams. Second of all, on Twitter, you remember, obviously, Dan Lovren.
Yeah.
Somewhat, he was doing, like, a Q&A, and someone said, like, what can the ISL do? Because I think it's, like, Indian Super League is what it's called. What can it do to, like, be better and get in front of more people? And he just, like, quote-tweeted it and said, what? Like, I have no idea what that was, and he got, like, pretty much canceled for it. I thought that was funny.
We're pretty big Kerala Blasters fans in this household.
Do you know where they're from?
They're somewhere in India. They have a cool name, and they're really fucking bad, but they're good this year. They're second in the Indian Super League this year, but they were not good when I was watching them.
I want to get on the Australian A-League vibe. I want to watch some Perth Glory and Daniel Sturridge. If I'm going
to ever watch them, it's going to be Melbourne City because they're a part of City Football Group.
I forgot about that. That's interesting, actually.
Yeah. Man City literally own like fucking 6 teams.
It's diabolical. Them and Red Bull is just unreal.
Yeah, Man City will make some random fucking signing, and you'll be like, "Who is that?" And then like a day later, they get loaned out to somewhere. You're like, "Oh, it was a City Football Group signing. That's what it was."
Yeah, it was probably some board meeting, and John Henry's dumbass was like, hey, you know what we do in the MLB? At the Red Sox, we have a AAA team, a AA team, a single A team, and it's basically all just like an umbrella. And the Man City owners were like, hey, that's a fucking great idea.
I fuck with that. And he was like, you go to Australia, find me a team.
Yeah,
I'm going to go to find me a John. Where should I go to get a team in America?
That's too funny.
So fucking funny.
Another obscure league, English championship side, Nottingham Forest, which are a notably huge club in England.
Absolutely massive. They're the people's fucking champions in the FA Cup this year, dude.
Yeah, Arsenal and Leicester in the same year.
And Leicester now.
I have no idea about like who plays for them at all, but it's a good story.
I'm absolutely loving it. The only thing I wrote in the notes that I would love to say right now is the magic of the FA Cup. Yes, 4-1. They comprehensively beat a Premier League side that didn't start dog shit players.
Yeah, and also Kidderminster. They are in the 5th tier of English football. We're actually beating West Ham for the majority of their match. Declan Rice scores one in the 82nd, I think, or the 90th minute, and then in extra time, I forget who for West Ham scored to take the lead and win. That would have been a fifth tier team beating West Ham.
Crazy. I personally would have loved to see it.
Declan Rice taking the piss too with that Michael Jackson dance as a celebration. You should not be celebrating against a fifth tier side that you're struggling to beat.
Pretty fucking funny though. Yeah. I am all for taking the fucking piss. So I think it's funny. Okay. So that was, the European roundup, but But next week, it's back, baby. It's fucking back. My favorite and least favorite knockout tournament in all of football, the Champions League, is back. I don't know. I don't think it's gonna play, but I heard it.
The champions.
All right, thank you. Yeah, so probably the rest of the episode, Josh and I are going to riff about the 8 Champions League games that are going on here. We're just going to go I think I wrote them down in order.
So I don't know if you caught this, Pat. I see them in your notes here, and I feel bad that you wrote notes on it. Some of them are next week.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. First 4.
Yes.
We have here. It's Madrid, Sporting, Salzburg, and Inter. Are the 4 match, and the other 4 are there.
Yeah, we'll tuck right in. I mean,
don't tell him, guys. I didn't know that.
I saw those and I was like, damn, Pat didn't see those are next week. PSG Madrid, that's gonna be a class one. Mbappe going to the Bernabeu.
Yeah, gonna get his first taste of it. I think Madrid have the pedigree and the players to absolutely win this tie. They've been in amazing league form. They've been really good in the group stage of the Champions League. I think they will and should advance. That being said, PSG employ these 3 players named Messi, Neymar, and Mbappe. Those 3 players are very capable of just winning games on their own. So it's going to be absolutely absurd. There's going to be a ton of world-class talent on display. Josh, what do you think before I give my score? I have score predictions for all of these games.
That's incredible. I love the research that went behind this. Real Madrid's huge underdogs for this one. The first leg is in Paris. Real Madrid are at plus 250, so big underdogs. Paris are plus 100. I just don't think Paris are tested enough.
No, that's my biggest thing is I think this Madrid team still has a spine of players that won 3 Champions Leagues in a row. And this PSG team, okay, I love the guy. I fucking love Messi. I would kiss him. He's not having a great season. No. He's just not. Mbappe is carrying PSG right now. Their midfield's dead. I don't think their midfield is good at all.
You see, Gini Wijnaldum got left off the Champions League roster. That's tough. I don't know what to tell you.
I don't think this PSG team is actually that good. I think saying PSG are the favorites are anytime Man City are favored to win any Champions League game. It's a fucking lie. Don't bet on them. Just don't. I don't think that PSG are getting through this tie. I think the first leg is going to be a 1-1 draw just because they're in Paris. Be a little bit easier for them at home, I think. But I think they're going to go to the Bernabeu, and then that's really when Madrid's class is going to shine through.
Yeah, Madrid. I also didn't kind of think about this. Ramos, that'll be a big storyline with this one.
Yeah, it'll be a huge storyline. But I think at the end of the day, it doesn't particularly matter too much.
No.
Vinicius Jr. has been one of the best wingers in the world this year. Benzema's in the conversation for best striker in the world. Somehow Casemiro, Modric, and Kroos are still a fucking phenomenal midfield trio. Madrid are going to ride that fucking thing until the wheels fall off of those 3.
Yeah. I think my pick with this one's actually going to be I'll let you give your pick after, Pat, where you already had this pre-researched. I'll do the draw no bet. So, again, this is betting Real Madrid to win. If they draw, you get your money back. So, the only way you lose money here is if Real Madrid lose. Plus 155. So, if you put $100 down, you're getting 155 back.
I'm saying 1-1 draw.
1-1 draw. That's a good one.
1-1 draw. I think both teams are going to score, but I don't think that Madrid are going to be shaky enough to lose the game, and I just haven't seen enough from PSG this season to say that they're going to confidently beat Madrid.
That's fair. What do we have next? Sporting City? What are your takes?
Sporting City. I think City are going to win this tie pretty handily. I think City are fucking hungry in the Champions League this season. Getting that taste of that final last year and then the way that they lost. This has been the big one that's evaded this team since the dawn of fucking time. This is a City team that's defensively solid. They have a really good core. They struggle a little bit in front of goal, but they just split teams open. They just break them down. I just don't think Sporting are going to have the quality. 3-0 City in the first leg.
3-0. Wow, that's a big one. That is a very big one.
I think they're going to kick it off in style. I think Pep is going to start the absolute strongest available 11 possible. And I don't think that Sporting have the quality. City are like not the City that fold in big games over these past couple of years. You've seen it time and time again. They're stepping up and they're winning these games they need to win. And I think that's really going to shine through this year in the Champions League in particular. My bold prediction is I think City are getting back to the final this year. I don't think they're going to win it. I think they're going to get back to the final.
It's just so competitive. I think now more than ever, there's not like a huge standout side. Maybe Bayern.
I think I honestly, I'm gonna just sound like the fucking Homer here, who's just like bleed blue, motherfucker. I got my blue tinted glasses on. I think City are absolutely a standout side in the Champions League this year.
So the problem I have with City is that I don't think they're a knockout team or knockout tournament team. FA Cup is different because you play half the time you're playing like shit teams.
Right.
Champions League, I think that's the difference between Liverpool and City and how people will remember them. City were the team that throughout a 365-day year, they're going to rarely slip up. Liverpool are the team that can go out and win like a two-legged tie and make it to the final of a tournament and win. A big one.
I think Liverpool are built for a 100-meter dash and City are built for a marathon.
Very much so. I would agree with that.
I think this City team is just different. I don't know what this City team has a feeling about them. They really, really want to win this. And I think I'm going to go out on a limb and I'm going to say it. I think that they're going to go very far in the tournament this year. I see them really prioritizing the Champions League and really, really showing that like them getting to the final last year was not a fluke.
Yeah, I actually like the first leg. I think Man City will win by 2. So that's Man City minus 1.5, minus 115, so not that bad. We'll go ahead and we'll skip one, go right into Liverpool where you just did City.
Right.
Liverpool-Inter. This one's an interesting one because Inter's top of Serie A. AC Milan were top of Serie A too. Liverpool handled them quite easily. I think I see Milan having trouble. I'm just looking at the Milan's last few games. They lost to AC Milan just this past Saturday. They beat Roma yesterday, and they have to play Napoli on Saturday. That's a pretty tough stretch of 3 games. Whereas Liverpool have Leicester tomorrow. We have Burnley Sunday, and then Inter, obviously, Wednesday.
Tell me Burnley isn't a tough fixture?
No, but I shouldn't say that. It's going to fucking jinx me. I just think Inter have a little bit of a hard run for them.
Fixtures around this fixture.
It is at the San Siro. Liverpool have already been to the San Siro this year, which I think takes a little bit of the nerves out. It is a class stadium, someone might be nervous to go to. I think Liverpool, they're fully healthy. You can play Luis Diaz in probably the Leicester or Burnley game while Sadio Mane kind of recuperates. So you could have a fresh Sadio Mane with like a week rest. Salah's back and he looks like he's ready to kill somebody after that AFCON loss, which makes me really excited. I think he's just going to go out and ball the next few weeks. And then you have like the likes of Harvey Elliott coming back too that you can mix into the lineup. I just have a hard time seeing Inter defend us. I don't really think they have the defense to match up with Liverpool's attack. And I'm honestly not like... I think Barella's out with this one because he had the red card in the group stage or like a yellow card accumulation. He's out for like both games. Mm-hmm. Lautaro Martinez is kind of like a more slender striker. I don't see him dominating either Van Dijk and Matip or Van Dijk and Konate. They just don't scare me really in any way, and that could be me underestimating Inter Milan. But as of right now, I've been intimidated in years past by some of these like teams we meet in the knockout rounds. I'm just not that intimidated by this Inter Milan side.
I don't think you're losing. I think Liverpool are absolutely going to be in the last eight of the Champions League. Um, I think you are underestimating their defense just a bit. They've only conceded 19 this year in the Serie A, second best defensive record, and they've scored 54. So they have far and away the best goal difference in the league. Unlike that AC Milan side that you beat in the group stages that were like run and gun, they've conceded 26 compared to Inter Milan's 19, and they've scored like 8 or 9 less goals than them too. Inter really have been the best team in the Serie A this year, where I don't think they're better than Liverpool. I think they are going to make this a pretty difficult tie. I think there's a couple ties in the round of 16 that have upset potential. I think this game has upset potential, but I don't see it happening. I think if there is an upset, so to speak, it will be Inter squeaking by Liverpool if there is going to be one. Just because I don't think Inter are a bad side. I think they have a really tough fixture around this first leg. But I think if they can manage to keep a clean sheet going into Anfield, it's anybody's ball game. I'm saying 1-1 draw, and then I think Liverpool finish the job at Anfield.
I always reference back to this, and I could be excluding FA Cup, EFL Cup stuff, because I think there's one of those in there. Klopp has only lost two-legged ties at Liverpool in the Champions League. Real Madrid last year to like an injury-ravaged team that just had no motivation. And the Atletico won the year before, which we had Adrian in goal. Everyone knows the story behind that. In a two-legged tie, I favor Klopp, and that's not saying for this specific game that we will win. I just favor us in general. And the money line is plus 110 for Liverpool, so a ton of value in just betting for Liverpool to win. Yeah,
I think that's pretty fair. I don't see Liverpool not being in the last 8 of the group stage. I just think any game is going to have some spice to it. It's going to be that one next week.
Fair enough. And then we have lastly Salzburg, Bayern, Munich. This is going to be a bloodbath.
Yeah, I think Bayern are gonna fucking kill him.
I'm not even betting on the spread. I'm gonna bet on just like the total, if I can find it.
While Josh does that, I'm just gonna. Sorry, Salzburg, you guys are fucking going home. I think it's gonna be a little tough for Bayern to travel and be the away team. So I think they're only gonna win 2-0, maybe 3. In the first leg, but I think they're going to murder Salzburg, over 2 legs in this tie. Bayern Munich just really like to kill these like good but like not great teams. Like you remember over the years when they had like a fucking 15-1 aggregate over Arsenal for 2 years. Like they just fucking murder teams. And Thomas Muller is like playing out of his mind this season. One of the best creative midfielders in the world right now. I think he's number 1 in chances created across all of Europe for all attacking midfield. Lewandowski is absurd. I think Sané is in the discussion for best winger in the world right now. This Bayern team is fucking unreal, and they're going to murder Salzburg.
So in betting, for those of you who don't know, when a bet is like too predictable, they'll just take it off completely. The lowest you can go on game totals for goals is 3. Which is nuts. So the lowest thing I can do for goals, that's like a half number, is over 3.5. So that means there has to be 4 goals. And that's plus 110. I'm hammering that. Because I think Salzburg might be able to get a goal. Bayern are scoring 3 or 4. So
yeah, they're going to kill them.
That's my pick for that one.
I don't see Bayern conceding, personally. I don't see it. Maybe I'm fucking wrong. What the fuck ever. I'll be that guy. I'll fucking see it.
It'll be interesting for sure.
Well, we can come back to these notes when we have to talk about the other 4 games because I have them here.
Yeah, exactly. We can. I don't think there's like too much going on. Like I know we're kind of backtracking here in the Prem. Liverpool play Burnley, City play Norwich. 2 pretty straightforward games against bottom teams. Leicester play West Ham, which is a little intriguing just because it's like the matchup of the shit shows right now.
Mm-hmm. Napoli-Inter is definitely one to watch this weekend.
Yeah, definitely.
That'll be a really
Porto
good game.
Sporting too. That's like 1 versus 2 in the Portuguese league.
Yep. Yeah, that'll be another really good one.
PSG has Rennes. They're kind of running away with Ligue 1 though, so that's not worth it. And then Dortmund, like we already talked about them, inconsistent as shit.
Yeah, I'm gonna say if you're gonna watch a game this weekend and you want to not be a slave to the Premier League, go watch Inter Napoli on Saturday. That'll be a really good game.
Also, another one too. Chelsea Arsenal women. Friday.
Technically not being a Premier League slave, so I'll allow it. But you're in England, so that's you're toting a fine line.
That's the 1 versus 2. Arsenal's 1 right now on 30 points. Chelsea's 2 on 28. So that should actually be a really good one. That'll be on ESPN, I believe.
Yeah, no, that should actually be a pretty good game. So yeah, we got some fun.
Anything else, Pat?
I don't think I actually have anything to say today.
I'm trying to make sure we're not missing anything like the Ivan Toney thing last week.
I don't think so. I think we
covered pretty much everything this week.
Don't hit your cat like Kurt Zuma. That shit's
fuck Kurt Zuma, man, and fuck David Moyes for starting him. Honestly, and that's like unfiltered words, and I apologize for all the swearing, but that's just like despicable behavior, and especially to start him. And then you have brands come out the next day, I believe Adidas, and he was like a sponsor for like a pet. I don't know how to like word it, not like PETA, but something similar.
Yeah.
And they both removed him as sponsors, but David Moyes thinks it's good enough to start him. So what are you going to do with these footballers, man?
In the words of our friend Lucas, David Moyes was just making sure Zuma was far enough away so the cat was safe.
Shout out Lucas. That was a great fucking
shout out Lucas. Great mini-sode guest. Great West Ham fan from the Netherlands. Great guy. Good Twitter person.
Yes, sir.
I think that about wraps up episode 26. Lastly, we just have an APB for guests. If you want to be on the show, hit us up. We're going to be without Mitchell next week too, so we would love to have a third voice on the pod. Mitch had his wisdom teeth out like we mentioned, so we're going to be, down a man, so to speak, for next week's episode. So if you want to come on the pod, shoot us a DM, get a hold of one of us. We might harass you and ask you to be on the episode, even if you don't want to be.
Yeah, get somebody like if you cover anything aside from the Premier League, where we have Champions League coming up. If you cover any of those other leagues that you can give a preview on for another team, that would be perfect.
Yeah, absolutely. Or if you just like want to come on and talk about the games, hit one of us up. Another big Champions League week next week. Yes. Just get at us, hit us up in the DMs. And that's about it. Thanks for getting this far in the episode. If you're watching on YouTube, make sure you subscribe, like, comment, ding the notification bell so you know every time we post a video. And then if you're listening on Spotify, Apple Music, anywhere you get your fucking podcasts, download the episode, save it, send it to a friend, post it on your Instagram story, and break into a bank and steal their aux cord and plug your phone in and make all the people behind the counter listen to our podcast. Peace.
You can't be held liable for that. Deuces.
It's a recommendation.